We. Ooh, hello. Welcome to the Love Storm Show. I'm just going to come on here for a few minutes and chit chat, chop it out with you all. This is Neva, your host for the Love Storm Show. And I just wanted to come in and tag in on with you all to check you good people out, see how y'all doing today. You know, and my favorite motto is, hey, love is everything. Turn it up and don't miss your blessing. Don't stop loving so you don't miss your blessing. And some of us tend to, kind of come into the wave of things and trials and tribulations of life, and kind of take us up under where we just don't want to be bothered, and we don't want to tackle with things. And so I just wanted to kind of throw out a couple of points, and then I'm gonna go. And as the things of what we do not want to do, what not to do if you truly love someone. So one thing I was going to implement is that, I know it's hard not to vent to other people, but you don't want to vent to other people about your partner, because people tend to kind of they start off in being supportive, especially if they don't have a lot of experience, a lot of wisdom when it comes to relationships and good, unbiased advice. You want to be careful on what you express with someone. So in that moment, the best person that you can express yourself to and with is your partner. So you want to take the situation out and absorb it, what's going on. And you don't want to address the situation while you're in the heat of a moment, because when we're in the heat of a moment, we tend to say things we really don't mean. We just speak out of emotion, of rage that we're dealing with at that moment. So you want to be fair with a person, by taking a step back, calmly, readjusting to redefine and reassess what you may be feeling or this issue that's at hand, so that when you get ready to address that person, your companion, your spouse, whomever it is, you can do it in a loving, calm way, and it's set in a mood of comfort and peace, so try not to jump off so quickly in response. Because at that moment, we do have to take ourselves, go through that whirlwind of what we're feeling, to assess and calculate what you just heard or what you just experienced. We all tend to kind of go through the flutters of emotions of what's at hand. You have some people that speak how they don't tolerate, how they don't do this and that. A lot of us tend to speak out on what we won't do or what we won't accept. And when the truth is, you don't know unless you get into a certain situation. So I say that to say this: don't be fearful of living your life, because you don't know what can transpire, whether it be good or bad, if you don't even give it a try. But surely if you experience a situation with someone that leaves you in a heartfelt way, well, at least you gained a lesson through that, because every experience is a lesson in it. So another thing, what you should not do, if you truly love someone, don't allow your love to be with really strict conditions. You want to love that person with all their flaws. Apparently, something drew you to that person, that something about that person attracted you. But we all know that nobody's perfect. So we want to, kind of look at the flaws that they have and determine whether or not it's something that we truly, really can live with. Maybe you have a small pet peeve. I have a small pet peeve. I can't stand the tissue on the floor when there's a tissue roll on the wall. So, I don't know if that's considered a flaw for someone or not, but for me, that's just one little thing that makes me kind of go, ugh, because that tissue got to hit your butt. So anyway, you're getting to know a person. You're getting to know them. And no matter how long you be with someone, you might find something 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road. You'll be like, where'd that come from? Something that they do that might irritate you. You just never know until you begin to live with someone, until you get to really learn and be with someone over, a certain amount of years. You start to get to know them more and more in depth. And so that allows your love to grow more with more solid foundation. Another thing you do not want to do if you truly love someone, you don't want to hold back from expressing yourself. It could be hurtful, it could be challenging, it could be painful, because we don't know how the other person will receive the information that you express or how you feel about a situation. So again, in a situation like that, you want to kind of take your time, think about, maybe even exercise, maybe with the mirror self-talk on how you want to present with the person as to what had, to express yourself on what maybe you have, what came about in the situation. So you want to be completely open, honest, and transparent, so that your partner can understand you completely, every part of you that makes you who you are today. To be vulnerable and be authentic. A lot of time it's hard for us to accept that and deal with that because, especially if you dealt with a lot of trauma. I find that to be so, where I'm personally still learning how to accept some things. And a lot of times with me personally, it depends on who it is. Because sometimes you have to be cautious on who you receive information from, who you receive your wisdom and guidance from, because everybody that claims to have wisdom is not always wise. You have to watch for tactics and, traps that people tend to have, Another thing that you don't want to do if you truly love someone, don't allow your differences to always be centered around the same issues. That's like constantly, repetitively bringing up the differences, because you have to remember each of us are different. Each of us are created with different, we're not going to say created differently, but as we're growing up, we tend to engage with different people and we pick up different characters, which in turn molds who we become. So if you're around consistently and constantly around certain things, you tend to pick up a trait. It's just like with our babies when they're growing up. We wonder, where did kid get that from? Where did they get that, the way they maybe dance or stand or something, because they have copied someone else. And that's how we do in our life. As we grow and meet people and engage with other people, we tend to pick up some things. Okay, so when you're constantly bringing up the differences over repetitively, it'll cause a person to kind of shut down and seclude themselves. They become secluded. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to deal with it. And that's the last thing you want to do, is have your communication with someone that you love cut short, because everything becomes a void. Everything's become repetitive, almost like computerized. You come home, you do this, you go, things just not, it's like a flat line. It becomes a flat line living. So you don't want to have a flat line. You want to have those waves, because as you have those waves and rhythms in your relationship, you get a piece of that person, what they engage in, what they're learning, what they know and understand. What you say, Shamika, even the good and bad ways, if you're around a person long enough, you start to adapt their ways. Exactly. You will definitely pick up somebody else's characters and ways if you're not cautious, because that's just like if someone's treated a certain type of way. and it's not healthy, either you're going to pick up that way or you're going to find a way to make sure that you're not carrying on the same behavior as that other person because you know how it made you feel. If it made you feel unwarm, unloving, and unkind, just made you feel some type of way, you're not going to implement that. You're not going to want to carry that character. So we as humans, we do tend to engage with other people and pick up some of their ways. Yes, Shamika, energy is real. Another thing, we don't want to be hidden or change who we are. Who we are when we meet someone. Like, what drew you together, what that chemistry and that attraction can last for so long if you do not allow yourself to adapt to a change in the new way of something that a person bring forth. Because each interaction you have could bring a different result in an individual. So definitely, ask questions. Don't hold back. If you feel some type of way about something, ask questions, because we don't want to assume that the person knows what you might be going through. And be honest about it. If you're really feeling some type of way about something, be honest. Sometimes me personally, because I'm such an empath that my energy can be so high intense that I can't sometimes deal with the situation right away at hand. I have to take a moment to kind of let that simmer within me before I address the situation. It always depends on the situation, because I am one, I will act on something that's an emergency where I will act out because it's like a reflex. But if something that can affect a person's mind, a mental state, their heart and emotions, definitely want to be careful on how to address a person before dealing with them and addressing them, because we want to be cautious on not being a person that causes someone else to turn loose in life, shall I say, for lack of better words. What do you say, Shamika? You're big on communicating, feeling towards something. Yeah. It could be a challenge, though, sometimes for some of us, because, again, it depends on their nature. It depends on how they, project, interject, how they perceive things, how they have carried on and addressing situations, throughout their lives. So, sometimes, overthinking. I've been told many times that I overthink. But the one thing that I do before I address a situation during my overthinking process, I have already analyzed and watched things before I can address it. Because when I address situations, I want it to be exactly what I know I saw and felt, out of sincerity, not just what I think it is. So it has to be definitely for certain what a situation or circumstances is. Because it's kind of like you're placing someone in a difficult situation of feeling some type of way. You want to take a deep breath. You want to inhale, you want to exhale, and you want to have faith that what's meant to be will be. And to worry about something for so long, it's like paying debt that you don't owe, because we're all entitled to how we feel about things, and not everybody is going to see things the way you see it. So it is very important when you're in your relationships that you communicate exactly what you feel, rectify, clarify, get a deep understanding, so that as things move forward, you won't be feeling like, you're upset at this person because they made you feel some type of way, when they're looking like they don't even know why you're acting like that. And it's not fair that you don't let them know exactly what you're feeling, what's on your mind. You have to be true to yourself in order for somebody else to be able to accept you whole as you are. Because if you holding back, is you that's right away, that's going to cause an effect. It's going to cause a chain effect. Because if you are not, if you're holding something back and you're proceeding on somewhere in that situation, as you continue to proceed in your relationship, things are not going to connect as they should, because somebody is holding on to something that they're upset about or didn't get an understanding of clarity on, and it's going to cause a wreck. So you want to not imagine scenarios, because sometimes we as people, we are playing our mind. Example, you haven't heard from your mate all day, but you know they're at work, and your mind is going with, I wonder what they're doing. Are they doing this? They may have told you some confidentiality, and so now your mind is playing. We don't want to do that. We dampen and putting a lot of weight on the relationship when we do that. So again, what's the best thing you could do? Simply ask that person, are you okay? What's going on? We don't want to take that. We don't want to take from them the trust that they may have built with you, and the honesty that we make, because we may have experienced something in our past that causes us to question things a lot. But certainly know your partner, because I think everyone knows their mate and their partner to the T. Nobody needs anybody to come and tell them about what's going on in their mate. So allow and let your mate be the number one person that you have the greatest communication with. I'm sorry, there was a pause and interference in the connection here. One thing I want to touch on quickly is, if a person can recover from a narcissistic relationship, that could be very challenging. It depends on the mind frame and mindset of an individual, if they're able to heal and move forward after being in such a narcissistic, manipulative relationship. That is one of the, for me, and I think a lot of people know, that's a very demonic, unhealthy relationship to be in, because dealing with a narcissistic person, they have already played out everything in their mind, how everything is, how they want everything to go, and they will do and say anything to make sure that it goes in their favor. Even if you're innocently being in your space, you're doing everything that you should as an individual, as a mate, they will find a way to make everything your fault. They will say you're being pretense about things that, they just can't, they just don't know how to be with reality. I've experienced that before, where some, are you living in reality? Because apparently there's something else going on. And that can be a damper on your soul, on your spirit, on your mind, on your emotions, and make you do not want to be bothered with anybody. Because you'd be like, how is it that someone can be so cruel? Well, we have to remember, first of all, we're all imperfect humans, and people are just evil. So there are ways that you can heal from that. One is just acknowledging that person is who they are. It's not your fault. It's not your fault that a person is, being manipulative to gain a way that they want to do something. They have a goal. They have a motive. It doesn't matter. They're going to do whatever it is to succeed and balance out what it is that they want. Another thing is that, just be steadfast in prayer for mental strength, clarity for where your new path is going to take you, or where you're going to go and proceed in. The narcissistic person does not assume responsibility for anything that does not work. They will display on the outside of your home how sweet and loving and caring they are. They give to the world. They go out of their way. And when they come home, they create an atmosphere where it's very unpleasant, very unease, and they will make you think that is something that you've done, and they know that they're the problem. But they have to put on a facade, because when they get ready to make their moves and exits and do whatever it is on the outside, if you have to address a situation, which we don't want to address situations on the outside of home, but in the fact that you may have to, they will have other people looking at you crazy, because they're going to look at that person and be like, well, this guy is a very good person. Something's going on with the spouse, the reason that they're responding and acting the way they are. So don't even give it attention. Once you acknowledge something and you see that they are who they are, call them out on it, let it be known, and don't talk about it no more. Because that's one thing, when you consistently and continually give them attention and bring things to their attention as to what they're doing or what they're not doing, they feed off that. They will feed off that every time. So just push forth. There's nothing you could do to change their mind. I don't care if they go off a year away from you to try to rehash themselves. They are who they are, and the only thing they could do is be delivered from that. Because that's an ugly spirit. And it's not something that they just started doing. That is something that apparently they've been doing for a very long time or all their life. And this is what they do. They go through life to get what they want and live. It's like a leech. They're leeching off you. They will give you so many promises and tell you so many beautiful things that you want to hear and indulge in, and make so many promises to you. And once they get what they want, they will play the game. Once they get what they need, tables turn very quickly. They will make you feel so uncomfortable. They will make you feel less important, not educated, and lost if you don't have a strong mind. You definitely have to stand your ground and have a strong mind. And you call them out and letting them know, I'm not the one that you can play those games with. You got to stand strong, steadfast, and keep moving. And don't think that you can fix them. You cannot fix them. They're not repairable, because we're not God. So know that if you're dealing in a situation, I don't encourage people to leave situations like that. It's not my call. To each his own, but certainly watch the signs, watch the patterns, and you will definitely see that it's not for you, because those type of people will drive you crazy to the point where you will lose your mind, because it's a spirit, and they will manipulate you to the core where you start questioning yourself. So think very intuitively highly of yourself, to the point where you in a mindset, though you're not being actually conceited, but in your mind, because in your mind, it's a mind thing. Your mind has to be strong. So you tell yourself, this person has a problem. It's a mental disorder. I don't think it's even been recognized medically that it's a disorder, but it's a disorder that's not connected in their minds, and you just cannot help them. So don't allow their mental illness affect you and your status, your mental status, to stay healthy mentally, because they will send you on a merry-go-round. It could be deadly. It could be very deadly. You will have to find a way. You have to find a way to free yourself from that situation if you're not smart enough. And one thing, don't speak too much on, you call them out on things, but don't speak a whole lot on things, because that's what they do. They don't communicate a whole lot. They'll communicate enough to make you comfortable enough to feel like, oh, okay, they're coming around. But they're also analyzing every word you say so they'll know how to make their play. It's like chess. And they're pretty good at it. And you have to be, once you recognize it, because at first you're not going to recognize it because you're in this fantasy. And once you recognize the narcissistic behavior and you notice their game, start having sealed lips and just prepare yourself for your exit. Because they will as much as bring, they will lie on you to any and everybody. They will, even if they have to involve the police, they will do anything and everything to bring you down. So I just want to encourage everybody that, we just have to be prayerful and steadfast, and we must know who we are when we deal in relationships, and especially when you know you're fair. When you know you're fair and you bring your all and you give your all, and it's not received and given back, if it's not reciprocated, it's not sincere. No one should have to tell anyone what they need, because they know what it took to get you. They know what it needs to take to keep you. So if they come into your space and everything stops or slows down so noticeably, it's not sincere. Another thing, I'm going to touch one more note on I had noticed some years ago that what's with some of the men being competitive, being in competition with their mates. I had never saw anything like that in my life before, where a man would be in competition with his mate, his woman. I take that as a self-esteem situation where they are not being praised or acknowledged enough, and saying how handsome they are. Just like us females, we love to hear how beautiful we are, how loving we are, how those accolades. Those gentlemen need those accolades too. So I just want to implement that. I think those things, that when they portray such behavior, it's because they were lacking something when they were younger. They were not acknowledged. To some capacity, they were not acknowledged. So they would tend to pattern what their female or their woman is doing. I've seen where someone with their woman in the mirror again, the guy was standing in the mirror and he admires himself, and I was like, wow. And they can't handle the woman's independency. They can't handle her not having to ask for his help in a lot of things. But yet they're living together and they're doing things together. But some men need to feel needed, and us women, we are the backbone and support. So I'm not saying to babysit them, but definitely, especially if we're married to them, give them their accolades, and also let them know that we're on the same team. Because I think sometimes people get in relationships and they don't realize they're on the same team. If they were going to be on opposite of the team, you definitely wouldn't be here, So that needs to be addressed. That's the first thing that needs to be addressed. Listen, here, we're on the same team, it's me and you against the world that we have to falter in, to deal with, not within our relationship, not within our home. So, we want to keep our fellas lifted. I'm all for the fellas being lifted, because there's a lot of them that are wounded. I'm not saying it's on our job to do, but definitely our brothers, it is okay to go get some help, some mental help, some therapy. It's nothing but you're talking to somebody else that is not going to judge you. If our men understood that going to get therapy is someone that does not know you, does not know your mate, Go get that therapy so you can heal. Go talk to somebody that you can pour your heart out to. They can help you kind of, understand where all these things is coming from that make you feel that you have to be in competition with your mate, that makes you feel less valued, that makes you feel insecure, And our sisters too, because I know our sisters, we go through a lot of stuff too, but for us, I know, and I can speak personally, because sometimes we feel so consumed with doing so many other things that we do. Do we have time for that? But there are therapists that you can talk to by phone. You don't even have to go into the office. So you got more privacy, You can go take your walk, your exercise, and talk to a therapist. Nobody has to know, because I want us all to heal. That's why this show is called The Love Storm Show, because love is loving ourselves. It's hard to love somebody else to full capacity if we don't love ourselves first. So go ahead and get that help, get our healings, come together, support each other, and love on each other. That's necessary. Some of us, it's going to take a little time for us to heal. Fine, so be it. But do not sit too long. Time pass you by. Your blessing can pass you by if you don't even allow yourself to be open. If, in fact, you do open and something treacherous happen, say this. Do this even prior to that. Pray that you have mental strength, that if something for some reason do not stick and that person do not want to stay in the relationship, it's okay. Lesson learned, not just a lesson learned, lesson received. Because while they getting a lesson for missing out on a good beat, you're also getting a lesson as a teacher to help somebody else, to give them a guide on. Be watchful of these things, So actually, it's a win-win situation. It feels like a lose-lose situation, but actually it's a win-win, because we're human. We feel that pain. We feel that hurt. So we want to stick it out by healing ourselves so that we can be able to love others whole and complete. I'm not saying go through being abused mentally, physically, verbally, and definitely if a person says they need their space, and they have to let them have their space, because we don't know what's on their mind. We don't want fire from somebody else that's really not for us. So definitely you want to be able to push forth, stand your ground. You can do it in a loving way. You don't have to be nasty and cruel to people in order for them in order to get your point to them. You let them know, hey, I'm not. That's not how it's gonna be. No. It's almost like when people get in irate situations, you have to talk to them like little children. You have to look at them by eye level and let them know that's not right. That's not how it's going to be. I'm not tolerating that. It's just my experience over the past year and a half. I had a couple of people come to my door, knocking on my door, cussing. No. You're not gonna come and knock on this door and cuss me. No, we're gonna calm down. You want to talk? We can talk, but you're not gonna stand here. You're not gonna cuss me. Okay, that's controlling the situation, because if you feel the fire with the same energy that they bring, people are already, when they come to you irate, they're already ready to turn loose. So why am I going to fall into their trap? No. I'm gonna control the situation by being calm. Now let's talk what's going on, and it's the same way we could be in our relationship, the very same way. Let's talk about it. What's going on? Stay calm. What's the matter? If you see a person really don't want to talk, let them have their moment. Be chill. Within the next 24 hours, try to address it, because, in 24 hours, a lot can change. Things can blow over, but that's going to still be on your mind. So again, address the situation. Don't let too much time pass before you address a situation that you need clarity on, because you have every right to understand and question anything that you don't feel is right. Love on yourself, love on each other, and definitely trust yourself. Trust yourself that you're making immaculate decisions. Trust yourself that you can get through anything. Trust yourself that you are being whole, true, and kind. in everything you do, in every situation that you address with someone. And let's not over exaggerate situations. Let it be just what it is. Address it. So that's going to be it for the show today. I want to thank everybody who tuned in. Love everybody. If you are interested in looking at my bio, because I do a column on Verbs Magazine. If you're interested in looking at my bio, it's Verbs, VERB, apostrophe Z Magazine, issue number 24. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, if there's anything you want to talk about, you can email me at nevafox73@gmail.com. That's NEVAFOX73@gmail.com. I'm private. I don't express anything of anybody's to anybody else. But definitely we can open up, bring you on a platform. We can co-host. We can share things and talk about it. Also, you can find all the videos that I've done in the past on YouTube at The Love Storm Show. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for tuning in. As I always say, love is everything. Turn it up and don't stop loving so you don't miss your blessing. Thank you for tuning.